Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we got some interesting stuff to talk about from the Kherson direction. According to multiple Russian sources, it appears like Ukraine has launched an offensive across the Dnipro river onto the left bank. This offensive was directed to the right of Woleshki and is by the towns of Pishanivka and Poima. There's even some reports that Ukraine has taken Poima, but those are unconfirmed right now with no evidence backing it up. It's interesting that there's more activity across here because I remember reading somewhere that the Russians were worried on the 10th of October that Ukraine was going to launch some massive assault across the Dnipro river. And I thought that was kind of stupid because it didn't make any sense. And then nothing happened on the 10th, which is what I expected, but it looks like there's some action going on right here. This definitely isn't going to be some massive offensive across the whole Dnipro river because Ukraine is going to end up facing the same problems that the Russians did across their thing. The reason why the Russians eventually had to retreat was because Ukraine was working on the supply roads by the Novokakhovka Dam and Antonovsky bridges too hard. And now both of those bridges are blown, so Ukraine doesn't even have any to rely on. But in April, Ukraine was slowly working their way down the former Antonovsky bridge area across to Dachi into Oleshki. But then in May or June, the dam broke, which caused most of these islands in the river to go underwater. But finally, back around August and September, it started to dry up a little bit, so the Ukrainians were able to restart an offensive into the region. And now these two have become the main target, and I think the goal is probably to try to cut off Oleshki from this E97 highway right here that goes into the left of it. Because this P57 highway is likely under fire control of the Ukrainians because based on the distance from Ukrainian positions onto the P57 highway that goes into the south of it, artillery should be able to hit those so the Ukrainians will know what's going into Oleshki and are able to fire at it. But previously, it was harder to get it from this way because of the elevation and just the distance between the 2 points. But if the Ukrainians are able to cut this road, they'll be able to reduce the amount of supplies inside of Oleshki, which I think is the main goal of this offensive. I don't think Ukraine is going to try to launch some massive attack over here, but I think what they'll do is they'll likely use natural borders. So let's look at the satellite map. They'll likely try to push out to natural borders in the region and sort of set up this little embankment, little fortress type point and hold this to try to redirect Russian reserves away from other areas of the front. That's what I've been saying since July, and I think I may be wrong about it, but I don't know. We'll see what plan they come up with in this area. The Kherson region is probably the least densely manned area, so it's the most dynamic with what can happen because of the dynamics of the river. And that's what we got right there. Oh, thank you, me. I'll go do that. Really quick before we get up there, the Ukrainians received a small amount of ATACMS missiles, which they used to hit an airport in Belarus. The Ukrainians have been asking for these for so long, so it's nice to see them finally used on the battlefield, and it looks like they've been put to good use. And to those of you who get bored whenever anyone starts talking about equipment just like me, just know they got the ones that shoot them little balls and then blow up and do extra damage. That's the simplest way I can put it. But let's conclude this with what's going on up around Kupiansk. The Ukrainians did a small tactical push that pushed the Russians out of the northern part of Sinkivka and back to Liman-Pershi. This is just a nice little improving move that the Ukrainians did to sort of leave a little pressure off of the Kupiansk area. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but on this map, the settlements are disappearing. The little gray areas, they're just slowly going away. Every time I use this, another settlement is disappearing. On this map, this is not what Kurdyumivka looked like a while back. It used to be gray all the way around. Maybe I'm just going crazy. But yeah, there's nothing too major up here. This isn't a start of an offensive, but this is a nice little move that will allow Ukraine to reestablish positions in their old fortifications and reallocate some troops somewhere else where they're more needed. Alright, and that's what I got. My internet is completely down right now, so I'm using my hotspot, which I don't know how much I have left, so I better edit this quick. My internet service provider cannot stop me from uploading my videos. Only I can do that, and I will die on it. I also downloaded a blue light filter, and I don't know if it shows up on the video or not, so my videos could just be tinted orange and I have no idea. Alright, see you guys later.